The echo of absence, awakening to grief's silent storm. Imagine a chair, not just any chair, but the one that sat across from you at the dinner table for years, decades perhaps. It held the weight of laughter, the echo of whispered secrets, the quiet comfort of shared silences. Now it's empty. The wood gleams under the kitchen light, untouched, as if waiting for a ghost to return. But ghosts don't come back. They linger in the heart, in the memories that flood the room like uninvited rain. This empty chair isn't just a reminder of loss. It's an invitation to rebuild, to reclaim the space, to transform the void into something new. Yet for so many who have lost a spouse, that invitation feels like a cruel joke. The chair remains empty, a monument to what was, holding us back from what could be. This is the story of grief, not as a thief that steals your joy, but as a reluctant teacher, guiding you through the ruins toward renewal. In this voiceover journey titled Four Regrets That Hold You Back After Losing a Spouse, we delve into the raw, unfiltered truth of widowhood or widowerhood. It's a path walked by millions, yet each step feels profoundly alone. We'll explore the emotional whirlwinds, the practical pitfalls, and the spiritual awakenings that come when love's partner departs. But at its core, this script uncovers four profound regrets that chain us to the past. The regret of isolation, where we build walls instead of bridges. The regret of hasty financial decisions, turning security into sand. The regret of neglecting our own health, letting the body mirror the soul's ache. And the regret of drowning in unprocessed depression and guilt, where yesterday's shadows eclipse tomorrow's light. These regrets aren't judgments, they're signposts. They arise from the fog of grief, where every decision feels like navigating a storm without a compass. But here's the empowering truth. Recognizing them is the first step toward freedom. Grief isn't just sorrow, it's transformation. It's the alchemy that turns pain into purpose, loss into legacy. As we begin this cinematic narration, let us step into the storm together, with compassion as our guide and resilience as our destination. Picture this. A woman named Elena, in her mid-50s, stands in her living room, staring at the empty armchair where her husband, Marco, used to read the newspaper every morning. The sun filters through the curtains, casting long shadows that dance like memories across the floor. Marco had been her anchor for 30 years, through job losses, child rearing, and quiet vacations by the sea. Cancer took him swiftly, leaving Elena adrift in a house that suddenly felt too big, too quiet. The first weeks were a blur. Funeral arrangements, sympathy cards stacking like unanswered questions, neighbors dropping off casseroles that went uneaten. But as the world moved on, Elena found herself frozen. The empty chair became her companion, a silent witness to her unraveling. This image of the empty chair is more than metaphor. It's the gateway to understanding grief's dual nature. On one side, it's a gaping wound, raw and unrelenting. On the other, it's a canvas, waiting for new strokes of life. Psychologists like Elizabeth Kubler-Ross taught us about the stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. But in the modern world, these stages aren't linear. They're a chaotic dance, influenced by our hyper-connected yet isolating society. Social media bombards us with images of perfect lives, making our solitude sting sharper. Financial pressures loom larger in an era of economic uncertainty, where one income suddenly must stretch to cover two lives' worth of dreams. And spiritually, in a secular age, we grapple with questions of meaning without the rituals that once provided solace. Grief as transformation begins with acknowledgement. It's not about getting over the loss. That's a myth that does more harm than good. It's about integrating it, letting it reshape you like a river carves a canyon. Elena's story mirrors so many. She woke up one morning, months after Marco's passing, and realized the house wasn't just empty. She was. Her reflection in the mirror showed hollow eyes, unkempt hair, a body neglected in the haze of mourning. But in that moment of stark clarity, she saw not defeat, but potential. The empty chair whispered, "What now?" And that's where our journey starts, with the reality that grief isn't an end, but a beginning fraught with pitfalls. Let's turn our lens to the common mistakes that amplify these regrets, starting with the emotional ones. In the immediate aftermath, the heart is a battlefield. Emotions surge like tidal waves. Sorrow crashes, anger erupts, numbness settles like fog. One of the first mistakes is suppressing these feelings, bottling them up in the name of staying strong. Society praises the stoic widow or widower, the one who returns to work too soon, hosts family gatherings with a forced smile, pretends everything is fine. But this facade cracks. Unexpressed grief festers, leading to regret. Number one, the regret of isolation. Isolation creeps in subtly. At first, it's self-imposed, a need for space to process the unimaginable. Friends call, but you let it go to voicemail. Family invites you over, but the thought of small talk exhausts you. In Elena's case, she stopped answering the door, letting the casseroles pile up on the porch until the neighbors gave up. I just need time, she told herself. But time alone became a prison. Modern life exacerbates this. Remote work means fewer daily interactions. Streaming services replace community gatherings, and algorithms feed us content that reinforces our loneliness. A study from the American Psychological Association highlights how widows and widowers are at higher risk for social withdrawal, leading to a 50% increase in depression rates within the first year. Why does isolation hold us back? Because humans are wired for connection. Grief shared is grief halved, as the saying goes. When we isolate, we miss the mirrors others provide, reflections that remind us we're still alive, still worthy of love. Elena's turning point came when she stumbled upon an old photo album. Flipping through pages of vacations and birthdays, she realized Marco's legacy wasn't in solitude, it was in the bonds he cherished. But by then, months had passed, and bridges to friends had weakened. The regret stung. Why did I push everyone away? It's a common echo in support groups, where survivors share stories of missed opportunities for comfort. To illustrate, consider a metaphorical tale. A sailor lost at sea clings to his wrecked ship, afraid to swim toward distant lights on the shore. The wreckage feels safe, familiar amid the chaos, but it sinks him deeper. Isolation is that wreckage. It promises protection but delivers drowning. In practical terms, this mistake manifests in declining invitations, ignoring texts, or even relocating to escape reminders, only to find the pain travels with you. Spiritually, it disconnects us from the divine or universal flow, whatever our beliefs. Many find solace in faith communities, but isolation bars that door. Moving to the social mistakes, which often intertwine with emotional ones. Society expects quick recovery. Time heals all wounds, but grief defies timelines. A common error is overcommitting socially to fill the void, the flip side of isolation. You say yes to every event, volunteer excessively, date prematurely, all to drown out the silence. But this leads to burnout, shallow connections, and regret when you realize you've neglected your inner healing. Or, conversely, withdrawing from social roles entirely, quitting clubs, avoiding holidays, letting friendships fade. In today's world, with apps like Meetup or Facebook groups, reconnection is easier than ever. Yet grief's inertia keeps us offline. Elena's social misstep was avoiding family gatherings. Thanksgiving came, and she feigned illness, spending the day alone with takeout and tears. The regret hit later, when her children expressed hurt. "We needed you too, Mom." This highlights how grief ripples outward, affecting loved ones. The lesson? Balance is key. Engage socially in small doses, a coffee with a friend, a walk in the park, to rebuild without overwhelming. Now let's deepen our exploration into the psychological impact of loss. Loneliness isn't just emotional, it's a physical ache. Neuroscientists describe it as activating the same brain regions as physical pain. After losing a spouse, the bed feels vast, nights endless. Anxiety spikes. Who will I call in an emergency? How do I face the future alone? Regret amplifies this. If only I'd said I love you more, or why didn't we travel when we could? These what-ifs trap us in a loop, preventing forward movement. Depression often follows, a heavy cloak that dulls colors, mutes joy. It's not weakness, it's the brain's response to profound change. Hormones like cortisol surge, disrupting sleep, appetite, immunity. In modern contexts, this is compounded by challenges like navigating online banking alone, or dealing with unsolicited advice from well-meaning strangers on social media. Elena battled anxiety attacks in grocery stores, triggered by seeing couples hand in hand. Her regret grew. I should have sought help sooner. But within this darkness lie hidden lessons. Grief strips away illusions, granting clarity. Priorities sharpen, material pursuits fade, relationships deepen. Wisdom emerges from reflection. Understanding life's fragility fosters gratitude. Inner strength builds like a muscle. Surviving each day proves resilience. Spiritually, many report post-traumatic growth, a term coined by psychologists Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun. It's the phoenix rising, stronger, wiser, more compassionate. Elena's clarity came during a solitary hike. As she crested a hill overlooking the valley where she and Marco once picnicked, she felt a shift. The pain didn't vanish, but it coexisted with peace. This is my life now, she thought, and it's still worth living. This revelation counters regret, turning it into fuel. Practical tools are essential to navigate this. Start with self-care. Simple acts like nutritious meals, gentle exercise, adequate sleep. Elena began with morning walks, letting nature soothe her soul. Journaling helps process emotions. Write letters to your lost spouse, venting regrets, celebrating memories. Support groups, online or in person, provide camaraderie. Organizations like GriefShare offer structured healing. Small steps forward build momentum. Reorganize a drawer, try a new recipe, call a friend. These aren't betrayals. They're honors to the love shared. Financially, avoid major decisions in the first year. Consult professionals to prevent regret. As we close part 1, remember, the empty chair invites transformation. Regrets like isolation and hasty choices hold us back, but awareness frees us. In the parts ahead, we'll delve deeper into the remaining regrets, uncovering more tools and stories. For now, breathe. You're not alone in this storm. Hope flickers, resilient and bright. The weight of choices, navigating grief's tangled path. The empty chair still sits there, a silent sentinel in the heart of your home. Its presence is heavy, not just with absence, but with the weight of choices made or avoided in the wake of loss. Grief is not a single storm, but a series of waves, each carrying new challenges. Decisions about money, health, and the heart. In this second part of 4 regrets that hold you back after losing a spouse, we walk through the tangled path of practical and emotional missteps, uncovering the second and third regrets that anchor us in pain. The regret of hasty financial decisions and the regret of neglecting health. Yet within these struggles lies the spark of renewal, a chance to rebuild with intention, to honor love through action, and to find resilience in the choices we make. Picture Elena again, standing in her kitchen, a stack of unopened bills towering on the counter like a paper monument to her new reality. Marco had always handled their finances, taxes, investments, the mortgage. Now, 6 months after his passing, Elena faces a cascade of decisions she feels unprepared for. A financial advisor calls, urging her to sell the house. A friend suggests cashing out Marco's life insurance to pay off debts. Her instinct is to act quickly, to clear the clutter of uncertainty. But haste, she'll soon learn, is grief's cunning trap. This is the second regret, making irreversible financial choices under the fog of mourning, turning security into sand. Financial missteps are among the most common pitfalls after losing a spouse. In the modern world, where economic pressures are relentless, rising costs, volatile markets, single-income households, these decisions carry high stakes. According to a 2023 study by the National Institute on Aging, nearly 40% of widows and widowers make major financial moves, like selling homes or liquidating assets, within the first year of loss, often regretting them later. Why? Grief clouds judgment. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational decision-making, takes a back seat to the amygdala's emotional surge. Add societal pressure to settle affairs quickly, and you're primed for regret. Elena's story illustrates this vividly. Desperate for stability, she considered selling their family home, a place filled with memories but also a hefty mortgage. A realtor dangled promises of a fresh start, and in her exhaustion, it sounded tempting. But a chance conversation with a grief counselor paused her. "Wait a year," the counselor advised. "Give your heart time to catch up with your head." Elena hesitated, and months later she was grateful. The house, though painful, was her anchor, a space where she could rebuild. Selling it would have severed that tether, leaving her adrift with regret. What drives these hasty choices? Fear, mostly. Fear of financial ruin, of failing to honor your spouse's legacy, of facing a future alone. Modern challenges amplify this. Online banking portals overwhelm with unfamiliar terms. Phishing scams target the vulnerable, and social media ads push quick-fix investments. The regret comes when the dust settles, when the house is sold below value, or the lump sum insurance payout dwindles on impulsive purchases. A metaphorical tale captures this. Imagine a gardener grieving her lost partner who uproots her entire garden in a frenzy, hoping to erase the pain of their shared roses. Years later, she mourns the barren soil, wishing she'd tended it slowly instead. To avoid this regret, practical steps are vital. First, pause major decisions for at least 6 months to a year, unless urgent. Consult a certified financial planner, ideally one experienced with grief. Organizations like the Financial Planning Association offer pro bono services for widows and widowers. Review your spouse's will or estate plan with a lawyer to understand your obligations. Create a budget to track income and expenses. Apps like YNAB or Mint simplify this. Elena started small, organizing bills into a spreadsheet, which gave her clarity without panic. Spiritually, this pause aligns with patience, a virtue many faiths emphasize as a path to wisdom. Now let's shift to the third regret, neglecting health, both physical and mental. Grief doesn't just break the heart, it taxes the body. The immune system weakens. Studies show a 20% increase in illness among the bereaved in the first year. Sleep fractures, appetite fades, exercise feels futile. Elena stopped her morning walks, once a ritual with Marco. She skipped meals, surviving on coffee and toast, her energy sapped. The mirror reflected this neglect. Weight loss, dark circles, a posture slumped under grief's weight. This neglect becomes regret when we realize health is the foundation for healing, the vessel for carrying forward our spouse's love. Modern life compounds this. Fast food is easier than cooking for one. Gym memberships lapse when motivation wanes. Mental health stigma, though fading, keeps many from seeking therapy. Loneliness exacerbates stress, spiking cortisol, which disrupts everything from heart health to memory. Elena's wake-up call came during a routine checkup. Her blood pressure was high, her doctor warning of long-term risks. "You're still here," the doctor said gently. "Marco would want you to take care of yourself." That struck her. Neglecting health wasn't just self-harm, it was dishonoring their shared life. The psychological toll ties closely here. Depression, a frequent companion of grief, isn't just sadness. It's a rewiring of the brain's reward system. Dopamine and serotonin dip, making joy feel unreachable. Anxiety spikes over practical concerns. Can I manage alone? Regret festers when we ignore these signs, delaying help until the hole feels too deep. A 2024 Harvard Medical School report notes that untreated depression in the bereaved doubles the risk of chronic health issues. Yet society often expects quick resilience, leaving us ashamed to seek help. A story to illustrate: think of a lighthouse keeper mourning her lost partner who lets the beacon dim, thinking it doesn't matter anymore. Storms rage, ships crash, and only later does she see her neglect endangered others, her family, her community. Health is your beacon. Dimming it risks not just you, but those who rely on you. Practical tools can light the way. Start with nutrition. Simple meals like smoothies or soups require little effort but nourish. Schedule walks, even 10 minutes daily. Nature reduces cortisol, as studies confirm. Therapy, whether in person or via platforms like BetterHelp, offers a safe space to process. Mindfulness practices like meditation apps, Headspace, Calm, ground racing thoughts. Elena found solace in yoga, her breaths syncing with memories of Marco's laughter, blending grief with gratitude. Spiritually, health connects to purpose. Many faiths view the body as a temple, a vessel for divine work. Neglecting it distances us from that purpose. Journaling, as mentioned in part 1, bridges this gap. Write about your body's needs, your fears, your hopes. Elena began a gratitude journal, noting small victories: a healthy meal, a restful night. These acts countered regret, building momentum. The hidden lessons of these regrets shine through here. Financial missteps teach discernment, choosing stability over impulse. Health neglect reveals resilience. Each step toward wellness honors your strength. Both clarify priorities. Security and vitality are not luxuries, but necessities for renewal. Psychologically, they force us to confront vulnerability, fostering empathy for ourselves and others. Spiritually, they remind us that life, even in loss, is sacred. As we close part 2, the empty chair remains, but its message evolves. It's not just a void, it's a call to act with intention. Regrets of hasty decisions and neglected health are heavy, but they're not permanent. With tools like patience, professional guidance, and self-care, we can lighten the load. In part 3, we'll explore the final regret, drowning in unprocessed depression and guilt, and unveil the path to renewal where grief becomes a bridge to a life reimagined. The shadow of sorrow, embracing grief's lessons for renewal. The empty chair still stands, its silhouette softer now, as if softened by time's gentle hand. It no longer looms as a monument of loss, but whispers of possibility, a bridge between what was and what can be. In this final part of 4, regrets that hold you back after losing a spouse, we confront the 4th regret, drowning in unprocessed depression and guilt, where the shadows of sorrow threaten to eclipse the light of renewal. Yet within this darkness lies grief's deepest lesson. The path to healing is not about escaping pain, but embracing it as a teacher. Through stories, practical tools, and spiritual insights, we'll uncover how to transform regret into resilience, turning the empty chair into a symbol of love, honored, and life reclaimed. Picture Elena once more, now a year into her journey without Marco. The house is quieter, the bills organized, her health slowly improving with daily walks and therapy. But late at night, when the world is still, a heaviness settles. It's not just sadness, it's a tangle of guilt and depression, a relentless loop of what-ifs and if-onlys. What if she'd pushed Marco to see the doctor sooner? If only they'd taken that dream trip to Italy. These thoughts are like quicksand, pulling her deeper into regret. This is the 4th regret, allowing unprocessed depression and guilt to anchor us in the past, preventing us from stepping into the future. Depression after losing a spouse is more than grief's shadow. It's a force that reshapes reality. The American Psychological Association notes that 60% of widows and widowers experience clinical depression within 2 years, often fueled by unresolved guilt. In our modern world, this is amplified by isolation. Social media's curated happiness contrasts with personal despair, and the pressure to move on feels like a betrayal of love. Guilt, meanwhile, is grief's silent partner. It whispers lies. You could have saved them. You didn't do enough. For Elena, guilt surfaced in quiet moments, like when she laughed at a friend's joke and felt a pang of disloyalty to Marco's memory. To illustrate, consider a metaphorical tale. A weary traveler mourning her lost companion carries a heavy satchel filled with stones, each one a regret, a what-if, a moment of guilt. The weight slows her, but she clings to it, believing it honors her loss. One day she meets a wise elder who says, "The stones don't keep your love alive. They bury you. Lay them down one by one and walk lighter." Unprocessed depression and guilt are those stones. They feel essential, but they hold us back from healing. The psychological impact is profound. Depression alters brain chemistry, lowering serotonin and dopamine, dimming joy's spark. Guilt activates the brain's self-punishment circuits, as fMRI studies show, making us replay mistakes endlessly. Modern challenges exacerbate this. Endless scrolling through old photos on smartphones traps us in nostalgia, while societal expectations, "You're strong, you'll be fine," discourage vulnerability. Elena avoided therapy for months, fearing it meant admitting weakness. Her regret grew when she realized delaying help prolonged her pain. Yet within this regret lie grief's hidden lessons. Depression, when faced, teaches vulnerability as strength. Admitting pain opens doors to connection. Friends, therapists, support groups become lifelines. Guilt, when processed, fosters forgiveness, first for yourself, Then for the imperfections of life, clarity emerges. Love wasn't measured by perfection, but by presence. Wisdom grows from wrestling with these shadows, revealing what truly matters: relationships, purpose, the courage to live again. Spiritually, this aligns with many traditions. Buddhism speaks of impermanence as liberation, Christianity of grace through suffering, secular humanism of growth through adversity. Elena's turning point came during a support group meeting. A fellow widow shared, "I felt guilty for smiling again, but then I realized my husband's love lives in my joy, not my tears." This reframed Elena's guilt. She began journaling letters to Marco, pouring out her regrets and gratitude. Each word lightened her load, transforming guilt into a dialogue of love. Therapy helped her name her depression, not as failure, but as a natural response to loss. These steps didn't erase pain, but wove it into her story, making space for hope. Practical tools are essential to avoid this regret. Therapy is a cornerstone. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, or grief-specific counseling helps reframe negative thoughts. Online platforms like Talkspace make access easier. Support groups such as GriefShare or local community centers offer shared stories that normalize pain. Journaling remains powerful. Write about guilt, listing what you did right. Every meal cooked, every hand held. Elena's journal became her sanctuary, where she forgave herself for imagined shortcomings. Mindfulness practices ground the mind. Apps like Insight Timer guide meditation, focusing on breath to ease anxiety. Physical movement, like dance or yoga, releases endorphins, countering depression's grip. Elena joined a community dance class, hesitant at first, but the rhythm rekindled her spark. Social connection is vital. Reach out to one person weekly, even for a brief call. Modern tools like Zoom make this easier, bridging distance. Spiritually, rituals help. Light a candle for your spouse, pray, or create a memory box to honor them without clinging. Modern challenges require modern solutions. Social media can be a trap, but it also offers grief communities. Reddit's ERUUTART grief support or Facebook groups connect you to others who understand. Financially, therapy or support groups may strain budgets, but many organizations offer sliding scale fees. Health-wise, depression can sap energy for self-care. So start small. A 5-minute stretch, a single page written. These acts build momentum, countering regret. The spiritual dimension is profound. Many find solace in faith, whether through prayer, meditation, or nature. Elena, not deeply religious, found peace in a secular ritual, planting a tree in Marco's memory. Each new leaf felt like a nod to renewal, aligning with her growing belief that life, even after loss, holds purpose. Psychologically, this reflects post-traumatic growth. 60% of bereaved individuals report newfound meaning, per a 2024 study. Spiritually, it echoes the idea of legacy, honoring love by living fully. As we close this journey, the empty chair transforms. It's no longer just absence, it's an invitation to rebuild, to carry love forward. The 4 regrets, isolation, hasty financial decisions, neglecting health, and unprocessed depression and guilt, are not failures but lessons. They teach us to connect, to pause, to nurture, to forgive. Elena's story ends not with closure, but with continuation. She laughs more now, tends her garden, plans a solo trip to Italy, not to erase Marco, but to honor him by living. This is grief's ultimate call, not to forget, but to transform. The empty chair invites you to sit, to rest, to rise. Step forward, not away from love. Resilience isn't the absence of pain, it's the courage to weave it into a life renewed. Let the chair be your reminder. You are still here, and your story is far from over.